Parents in Hampton Roads are calling a controversial method of controlling students' behavior child abuse.
It's called seclusion and restraint. Investigative reporter Chris Horne has more from parents who want this practice banned altogether. Chris.
Tom and Nicole, schools use seclusion and restraint to get students to calm down or to keep them from hurting themselves or, say, other students or staff. Some parents of children with autism told us when they learned about it, they decided to homeschool. Specialists and even high-level educators say it's harmful and it doesn't work. Barbara Cummings and Kathleen Gray-Cochet have children in the Virginia Beach School Division. Both are speaking out about the use of seclusion and restraint to control unruly students.
It's tragic because these kids are some of our most vulnerable kids.
I'm like, this is child abuse. If I were to lock my child in a closet for a couple of hours, I'd be arrested.
Cummings and her husband found out about seclusion and restraint when they toured Windsor Woods School on behalf of their 8-year-old son with autism. 85 Hampton Roads schools are connected to a program known as CSEP. The Southeastern Cooperative Education Program offers alternative and special education. Staff members are trained in behavioral support and crisis prevention strategies. Those strategies include seclusion and restraint. The school made an audio recording of the tour, and Cummings gave us a copy. Seclusion involves isolating the child in a locked room.
I mean, we've had at times, we've had a couple hours, and we've had 15 seconds. I mean, it really just depends.
There's bare, nothing in there at all, no padded walls, cinder blocks. It's all...
No windows, I presume.
No windows, except in the door.
So there's 2 magnets on the door, and then, so if we close the door, it doesn't lock. You have to flip the switch to lock it.
Children remain in seclusion until they are compliant. We went to the headquarters of CSEP, where officials refused to comment.
You think that there's therapeutic value in having a kid for 2 hours in a secluded, locked room?
There is nothing about seclusion that would be good for him at all.
Restraint is a series of physical holds that staff members use to control an unruly child. Cummings wanted to know if anyone had been injured from those holds.
Where some kids have had bumps, either from headbutting someone or just in the process of getting into the restraint, there was chin against the wall or something like that.
Federal guidelines discourage the use of seclusion and restraint in strong terms. Secretary of Education Arnie Duncan says it can have very serious consequences, including death, and there's no evidence that it's effective.
The federal guidelines for this mention the word death 12 times in 45 pages. And you're not going to talk with us?
These guidelines say the methods should be used only as a last resort in cases of imminent danger. The Autism National Committee says current Virginia guidelines for seclusion and restraint do not provide meaningful protection for children. We wanted to know how often CSEP uses seclusion and restraint. A former CSEP employee worked at 5 different CSEP schools. She says restraint was used frequently.
It became a daily first response or a second response tactic used by the teachers and the teachers' assistants.
Parents want to see it end completely.
I would like to see it all go away.
And it's not right. It's so not right. There's nothing therapeutic about this.
Parents and experts tell us there is a more effective and less abusive alternative. It uses positive reinforcement instead of seclusion and restraint. A former CSEP employee says she has seen it work.
I've seen a child go from flipping a table and throwing a chair to being calm when given verbal directions, and this is a nonverbal child.
We wanted to ask CSEP if they would consider those alternative methods, but they're not talking.
We can't tell your side of the story if you don't let us. Now, a mother from Norfolk supports CSEP. She says it has taught her children right from wrong and respect. She also says they've been secluded multiple times in a week or even in the same day. I asked her how she controls her children at home when they get out of hand. She says sometimes she has to call 911. The new stricter rules for Virginia are set to go into effect July 1st, and once they do, the National Autism Committee report says protections in Virginia will greatly improve. Chris Horne, 10 on your side.